MGTOW. Most men won't. Now, before we get into the subject matter, let's look at some definitions of MGTOW. The definition supplied by MGTOW.com states, MGTOW, men going their own way, is a statement of self-ownership where the modern man preserves and protects his own sovereignty above all else. It is the manifestation of one word, no, ejecting silly preconceptions and cultural definitions of what a quote man is, looking to no one else for social cues, refusing to bow, serve, and kneel for the opportunity to be treated like a disposable utility, and living according to his own best interest in a world which rather he didn't. John the Other explained it this way. MGTOW is a phenomenon in society in reaction to a set of social, economic, and legal pressures which are massively disadvantageous to men, which are harmful to their lives, and the faction of MGTOW who know about the name and read about it in blogs and make videos and so on are like the tiniest tip of an iceberg of a larger phenomenon happening within society. Recently, I've heard statements basically claiming that the MGTOW movement is futile, that it will never increase in sufficient numbers enough to bring about any lasting change. Examples of such statements went like this. Most men can't be convinced to do it in a conscious way. Most men won't abandon women in the gynocentric aspects of society. It is too ingrained in the nature of both men and women. It is not feasible for men to essentially go their own way. Society is not going to let them, so on and so forth. While I do not believe those types of statements, or those who make them, are necessarily and automatically antithetical to the cause of MGTOW, I do believe they're dead wrong, and I will prove that they are wrong in just a minute. I strongly believe that the number of men, including marriage strikers, and the number of those who do not currently self-identify as MGTOW, but have chosen, whether consciously or subconsciously, to take the metaphorical red pill and are waking up, will continue to grow larger and larger. Biological determinists and defeatists argue that human nature is fixed, and therefore men simply will not, to any significant degree, abandon women and go their own way. They contend that men are incapable of overriding their base biological instincts to protect and provide for women, and that the legal and societal pressures will be too great for most men to overcome, even if their survival depended on them doing so. However, Turd-Flinging Monkey recently gave a very plausible explanation as to why men are indeed overcoming their biology and primitive instincts and are fighting for their survival. With his permission, I will now play a short segment from his video, Conflicts of Vision, where he explains the concept of neuroplasticity and his theory about the reward-punishment instinct in men.
Neuroplasticity reinforces or weakens instincts. This ability of the brain to change allows us to develop in different ways, directed by our recognition of reward and punishment as it relates to our survival. There is a reason that men's rights in MGTOW have only appeared in the last decade and not 50 to 100 years ago. Yes, there were famous men like Nikola Tesla who were lifelong bachelors, but not an organized anti-marriage movement, so why now? Well, the overreach of feminist laws that have quote-unquote liberated women and have had the byproduct of enslaving men have caused this. The reward-punishment instinct of the brain has been triggered, and we as men are realizing that relationships with women literally threaten our survival. That's the red pill in a nutshell. Our neuroplasticity has weakened our instinct to pair bond with a female. At least for those who've discovered the red pill, that's why we make these videos and try to wake men up. Now, why doesn't this work for women? It's because their survival isn't being threatened. They're in fact benefiting from the current system, and it works in line with their own instincts. So what reason would they have to question, let alone reform it?
This concept of neuroplasticity not only explains the increase we are currently witnessing in men who are choosing not to get married, but also explains the phenomena such as the sexodus in the UK and herbivore men in Japan, and proves that men will en masse continue to awake, abandon gynocentric social norms, and go their own way. But what that will ultimately mean for society as a whole and for our future as men remains to be seen.